Hello and welcome everyone to some more Esea Premier action. I know we had quite a bit of action on this channel last night in the stunning 99 rounds played across two maps, which the vast majority of those rounds, I think like 77 or so, were played on Mirage alone. But tonight, I am joined by my good buddy Exner, and we are going to be bringing you High Coast Esports, who are currently 6-1 at the top of their division of the ESEA Premier, versus the boys of Recon 5, who are looking to take, I believe, the #2 spot should they be able to win this match. How are you feeling tonight, man?
Yeah, I'm feeling really excited. This is definitely going to be one of the biggest matchups of tonight, kind of a decider for Group B and getting those playoff spots. We're not locked in just yet. We still have a couple more games throughout the week to play out. But yeah, this would be an absolutely huge win for Recon 5 if they're able to get it. And same for High Coast. It should kind of cement their #1 seed if they're able to pick up the win tonight as well.
I do believe that the only teams that both of these squads have lost to is Triumph. So I think if, like you said, High Coast manages to take this over Recon 5, which early predictions on HLTV and such are favoring, they will most definitely cement themselves as the #1 #1 team for Group B. But speaking of the match we have ahead of us, let's talk a little bit about some maps. So High Coast's bans were Mirage and Train. They picked onto Inferno. Recon 5 took out Vertigo and Overpass, which, you know, you'll never see Vertigo in ESEA
Yeah.
Premier. It's just we're never gonna get it. And
I've
picked
seen it
onto
one time.
I
Once.
really which map was
It
that?
was Secret Club. Secret Club.
Oh,
They
of
picked
course.
it, and it looked good, but it was versus a pretty low tier team. So obviously,
Yeah.
not a bad pick. Get some practice on it at the very least.
You'll never see Vertigo.
Not again. Never get so lucky.
And speaking of which, so that means our final maps are going to be starting off on Dust 2, then on to Inferno, and our decider will be Nuke. So on Dust 2, High Coast has decided to start CT. On Inferno, Recon 5 will start off CT. And in the end, we'll figure out who gets to play what on Nuke. That's just how those pesky decider
Knife
matches
rounds.
always end up being, you know?
Yeah, definitely can be pesky. I do. I'm excited for that third map. It should be a lot of fun. Nuke is a pretty strong map for High Coast. I haven't quite seen them on. I haven't quite seen Recon 5 play that map. I feel like that's kind of a relatively new one. I'm sure that they'd be.
Recon 5 is quite strong on Nuke from what we've seen in the past, but no one's as strong as High Coast on Nuke in this league, if you'd ask me.
Yeah, I mean they've got the same win rate as well. So of course versus different opponents. I believe there's some High Coast versus Liquid, if I'm remembering correctly, from DreamHack in the previous tournament. So definitely a little bit different opponents between the two teams. But yeah, it's gonna be a tough opponent for Recon 5. But I mean it would definitely boost their confidence. Again, playoffs not really locked in for any team just yet because so many maps are being played this week. But if they were able to get this win versus High Coast tonight, it would certainly kind of boost some momentum heading into what could be a possible deep playoff run.
Speaking of DreamHack, I did mention earlier that the only two teams, the only team that both of these two teams have lost to so far in ESEA Premier is Triumph. But this last week, in the DreamHack Open, the 2021 Open, High Coast managed to take down Triumph. They took them down 2-1 in their group's decider match. So that could bode pretty well for them. They did get quite a bit of top-tier practice throughout this last week, competing at the highest level of the DreamHack Open. They didn't quite make it all the way to the end, I believe, finishing at a strong third place after having lost to Extra Salt, which, you know, not too bad of a loss, if you ask me.
Went on to win the thing as well.
But, you know, if anyone has had quite a bit of practice over these last couple days, it's certainly Recon 5. You know, 99 rounds played yesterday, most of them, again, being on Mirage. And yes, I counted. They almost broke triple digits in a 2-map series, but not quite. It's 99 rounds played with 77 of them being on Mirage. So no surprise that High Coast took Mirage out of the map pool. Lickety split.
Oh, yeah.
And
just such a long bit of practice to play on one map. They've got so much probably teamwork that goes into that as well. So good ban from Heikos. I honestly don't blame them.
And they also have, I believe, 3 more days, or at least including this one, straight of more ESEA Premier matches. It's that time of the season where
Yeah.
a couple of teams have to run that gauntlet of day after day best of threes.
Yeah, you got to get them all done before playoffs. So yeah, all of these teams, I believe Triumph is in the same boat where they're just getting all their matches in. I think that Recon and 5 and Triumph were kind of in somewhat of a similar position where they wanted to kind of round out their roster before they started playing too many maps, and so both of them kind of scheduled or used a lot of those wild cards to move their matches towards the end of the season. So does make a lot of sense, but yeah, it just leaves so many maps to be played for these teams alongside qualifiers that are going on as well.
Yeah, and speaking of playing a whole lot, let's talk about our players to watch for the game today. So for me, my player to watch has to be my boy Cobra, right?
Uh,
Last night across the 2 map series, Cobra had a score line of 71-50 with a 102.9 ADR and a 1.52 out of 2 overall rating. Those are insane stats, man. Like, not too many players, even like especially in the endurance test that was Mirage yesterday, not too many players out there could have gone that long and kept up their performance
mm-mm.
that high.
Yeah, no, Cobra had an insane series last night. He didn't. I mean, obviously they won pretty confidently, but cutting into Mirage, being able to maintain that sort of performance, I think the key stat here is the ADR because that's just kind of showing the consistency round after round. Having 80 ADR would be considered, a great stat. He had 102, and so I'd have to agree with you. Cobra, the player to watch, no question about it. He's had a insane rookie season last season. We got to see him kind of rise from, I believe, kinship at the start of last season all the way into um, what is currently now Recon 5. So he's just been kind of one of the most exciting players to watch. He's been growing so much, and it definitely, I'd 100% agree with you.
Um, I'll let you take for High Coast, but
High Coast?
I think we both know who we've got our eyes on for the
Yeah.
squad of High Coast.
Yeah, I think that Monum definitely the player to look out for. He's such a consistent factor for High Coast. New player into the roster, but definitely can tear some tear some heads off. On top of that, I would have to highlight RCF and Boo on the double op. They can do a lot of work as well. That's one of the
Hmm.
most scary things I think in premieres to kind of worry about that double op setup from those two players.
Yeah, especially keeping in mind that our first map is going to be Dust 2. A double op setup on Dust 2 is
Oh,
a thing that's been, it's been a nightmare for pugs and pros alike, all the way back to the advent of CS:GO itself. There's been no escaping the double op meta on D2 for as long as memory stretches back.
yeah.
So that duo of those 2 players on those 2 guns gonna be quite scary if your name starts with an R5.
Yeah, yeah, it definitely can be terrifying to be honest, but I do think that they'll have some decent setups. It is their map pick, so I'm sure they'll be coming into it somewhat prepared. I imagine they might be bringing it out themselves. Not 100% sure about that because it's so kind of meta centric. You can definitely utilize that double up setup, having one towards longer cat, and then even one towards mid as well could be so effective. But yeah, that's definitely one of the things I think that so many teams are petrified of is RCF and Boo's combination. Besides OCA, besides Cooper, they've got some of the most lethal ops in this one team. So can use it so well if they get that early economy rolling on the CT side at the very least.
Yeah, and like you just mentioned, they are starting CT side, and you said it a little bit earlier. It's possible that we'll see the squad of Recon 5 bringing out a double op setup of their own at some point, and I really think that's going to be dependent on how quickly High Coast is able to get their economy moving on that CT side. Because I think that if Recon 5 is able to use those AKs, those cheap early rifle buys to just kind of keep a clamp on the High Coast economy and not let them get those ops started, they'll probably stick to that and make sure that like they're forced to save at least if they want to try and get those setups going. But it's really just going to be dependent on who takes pistol, who takes second round, as so many things are.
Yeah, it definitely feels like a lot of the game could kind of come down to if you can get your early economy rolling on the CT side. Feels like so many times that's where teams fall short, and in the grand scheme of things, what we should
Yeah,
be.
but speaking of getting rolling, 5 seconds left, and we will be finally getting started with our ESEA premier match of the night. So let's get going. Recon 5 versus High Coast on Dust 2 to start us off.
Yeah, this is an exciting one here. We got a decent set of utility on both sides. You got a lot of action going on here towards mid. It's in fact a stack towards Cat. They've got a flashbang coming through from the middle side of the map here. RCF and Boo doubling up. I said the double opposite lethal, but it's just the
Oh.
USPs that are raining out for these two. Modem to follow it up as well twice. Left to wonder what on earth happened to the rest of his team as he was that long lurk here. As Modem quick on the flank has to find anything. He'll just knock the head off as well. That was phenomenal from High Coast. Already seeing the strength of their setups.
Yeah, twice kind of just got left in the dust by the rest of his team as they just sort of walked into that USPS firing range. High Coast
Yeah.
stacked themselves up on stairs and just waited for the heads to peek around the corner, just kept going. Really no response from Recon 5 that first round. And, twice tried to get something going there at the end, tried to retreat towards long doors, maybe create a little bit of space, maybe take a couple of names off the board before going into the second round. But no, just found a little bit too easily, a little bit too quickly. But here's the interesting thing. We see RCF not alone, but a little bit farther up than the rest of his team as Boo comes and gets boosted with this FAMAS. This is potentially very deadly for the squad of Recon 5. If they were to have pushed the letter on that a little bit, they could have found themselves a couple of frags on the likes of Jazz Pimp and co.
Yeah, almost certainly. It also could have been deadly for the other side of things. You saw that they were getting a little bit lost towards Catwalk, but they do take control. The counter flash is good, but Boo unable to find anything. Instead, just throws that smoke down, falls off the angle. Modem in the meantime gets 2 kills over towards mid, so now it leaves him in a really rough spot here. Just a couple of scouts and deagles being picked up here. Jazz Pimp just playing behind the smoke here. Saturn going for some shots, but they're pretty much locked in this position with Modem on the flank here. So he gets his 4th kill of the round. Gets his ace stolen away from him, unfortunately. But Heiko's either way going to be happy with another. Was that a flawless round? Was that 2 in a row?
That was 2 in a row. So that was, a not only 2 flawless rounds in a row, but that was flawless execution there at the end. We saw Modem pushing up behind, RCF in front. That was the epitome of rock and hard place inside of inside of Counter-Strike, being stuck on those short stairs as the smokes bloomed and as the bullets flew. He was trying to get a couple of those shots off with the scout, just kind of firing blindly into the smoke, hoping maybe he got lucky and grabbed a head or two. But it just, didn't really work out. And now into the next round, they're still going to be stuck on a couple pistols, a couple upgraded into the Deagles. It's not going to look too hot. Twice does manage to get the first kill of the game, though, onto Boo. With that Molly from beyond the grave going to make sure that he doesn't get anything else after the fact. Now, just Cobra and Saturn remaining, and they're not even linked up. They've been kept pretty separate by the squad, and it's just RCF and Ben on janitor duty, cleaning up the last 2 remaining members of Recon 5. So they got a kill. They got 1 on the board, but that singular digit surrounded by the rest of the donuts isn't looking too great for Recon 5 right now.
Yeah. I mean, Monaby's been an absolute machine so far. I will say it was just a lot of cleaned up ecos that he's been able to get. They're doing this heavy pressure over and over again towards long. We'll see how it works out. 4 players in the defense. This is going to be very hard for Recon 5 to break into. You see Modem just running through the smoke. He's getting kills on gun rounds as well. Austin doesn't check towards blue bin. Now he's locked in a position. They got a molly for him. Throws it in. Modem has a smoke just to extinguish it. So no luck for Recon 5. They throw another one in as well. It's just
gonna get extinguished. Yeah, that was really great awareness from Modem, and it's something that you come to expect from a player of his caliber. Just, calm, cool, and collected, throws out the smoke, doesn't even care about the fire blooming around his feet. Perfectly happy to just stay there, wait for the players to kind of just push into his line of sight. Saturn takes a couple pot shots at the player through mid doors, but he is going to retreat towards that B bomb site, basically uncontested. So now, Recon 5 is just struggling to get anything going. The op in the hands of Cobra is potentially dangerous here, but I don't see it doing too much, especially if High Coast manages to just collapse on them like they've been doing so far.
Oh.
Speaking of which, Modem there for the
Oh.
backup, making sure that RCF doesn't even die for his hubris. Get you a man like Modem, dude. He is always there, always got his homies back, and that's sending Recon 5 right back into the dumps.
Yeah, he's rocking 10 kills right now. He's having himself a hell of a game so far. It leaves Recon 5 in a weird position right now. That's going to be a reliever, though. They put the first kill on the board for Modem, and definitely a heavy hitter taken down early. I will say that High Coast, they've been putting so much pressure towards the A side of the map here. This time they actually have players towards mid, but they're getting pressured here. Cobra quickly in, and he will be taken down here. Boo equalizes as RCF looking to retake towards mid. The flashbangs are good, and Podalone holding steady towards B. Going to continue to extend this lead for High Coast here, but nice kill from Twice pickup as well. But Boo instantly on the trade, and does put him in an advantageous situation here, but the defense does look a little bit spread thin, and Twice has full control of this A bomb site.
Gonna get an AK for his troubles, and as he potentially pushes in through the tunnel, he could find Pone alone and Boo with their backs to him, but that remains to be seen. And I do think, in my opinion, he should probably just elect to hold on to this A control, let the rest of his squad push up and support him. But it's a race against the clock right now, and the clock is all three of the remaining High Coast members pushing up through stairs right now. He's gonna peek around the corner and find Twice awaiting. In come the fire, in come the flashes, and Boo going to manage to take down Twice. So he had a lot of impact that round, but it's just not going to be enough as Pone alone cleans it up. That should be a quick and easy defuse for a 5th round. High Coast looking uncontested so far.
Yeah, that was just a good retake there. I was a little bit worried with the stack cat, and Twice had a really good idea to try and take the fight. He equalized the situation, but luckily the mollies that rained in towards site kind of forced the players to get a little discombobulated. So now it's a 5th round for High Coast. The guns are once again out. I think that with what Recon 5 was working with in that round, they'll be quite happy with the results. The bomb planted and 3 kills. It's going to put them in a really good position to get this gun round here, but they will have to get it still. And once again, it's that 4 long setup, and this is a really good read right now from Recon 5. They're sending 4 towards the tunnel side of the map. There's only 1 player on this entire B side, the entire half of the map to defend. So if they execute at this moment, they'll be looking really good to go through the smoke. And Modem left alone. Very little utility here, only 1 grenade to try and defend against this push.
In comes the smoke to the B site, and Modem doesn't even.
No.
You were saying he's all on his own. He's all on his own without utility. He doesn't need utility. He's got a gun, and he's not afraid to use it. Pone alone there for the backup, for the reinforcements, going to manage to take out Austin, and it's just all on to Cobra. By himself inside of this B bomb site, it shouldn't be too long. All that they need to do is push in and pinch him between 2 angles that he can't flip to. He is going to not find the head of the player pushed up, and that mistake is going to cost him his life, and not only cost him his life, but not going to be able to get even a kill off of it. That should have, by all means, been a kill onto the player pushed up onto that platform, but he just didn't even manage to get that. Close but no cigar, you know, and that's going to be yet another round for High Coast. This is looking like a stomp, actually.
Yeah, it's a rough situation right now for Recon 5, especially with the fact that in that round you had everything going for you. You had the full B side. Actually, I believe there was a missed smoke towards door as well. That's going to be a little bit frustrating for Recon 5, but yeah, I mean, Modem just kills too, and in that position, you'd really expect a 1-for-1 trade there at the very best, but the defense arrives in time and...
Not even that you'd expect the 1-for-1 trade. You need the 1-for-1 trade if you can't take down Modem first, which, you know, not really all that expected the way Modem's been playing, but RCF, good for another op shot on the round to pick up his 2nd already. Rest of Recon 5 is going to try and push up through long. Out come the flashes, and they're good to create at least a little bit of confusion in the pushing squad. And Modem on this site, he's got it locked down from behind the box. They're going to have to push through quite a bit of resistance if they want to get on here. Ben sprays through the smoke and finds Jazz Pimp. Gonna knock him down. Modem swings wide, isn't able to take down Saturn, but the fire is going to be able to do what Modem couldn't quite finish up. And that's another nearly flawless round.
Yeah, no, they're just feeling really good. Their setups are so strong. RCF is unbelievably aware there. One player pushing through the smoke towards mid, and it looks like right now Recon 5, they can't get the ball moving. That's what they gotta do. Twice right now is the only player with more than one kill, and it's definitely showing in the economy of High Coast. It was mentioned earlier that they want to get that economy broken. You're probably not going to see a double up setup, but it is an inside execute. Once again, it's Portland this time alone on the top site. He holds it down just as well.
That.
That's such...
They
yeah.
they were punished ridiculously hard earlier for not finding Modem in there. And speaking of Modem, he's going to be able to swing through the door and find two. Gaspin all alone on the site and sprays through the smoke, tries to find the players through the door. Almost brings it to a 1v1, but he can't even manage to take down Ben, so that's an 8th for High Coast. And like I was saying, you need to check that corner. You've already been punished once ridiculously hard for not expecting Modem to be playing there. And you lost the round because of it, and now you just leave yet another player Pwn alone, uncontested in that little hidey hole to spray your entire squad down if you push into the bomb site. You can't be doing that, and that results in yet another round in the favor of High Coast.
Yeah, you're exactly right. Pwn alone getting 2 there once again when he's just on his lonesome, literally alone. He's able to opener from Cobra. RCF flashed off the angle as well. Cobra gets himself a second towards long, single-handedly pulling out a part of the map. That was a player to watch there on the Recon 5 side, but it is going to be 2 players pushed towards up on the guard. It's going to be Modem taking the fight, and this should be a relatively easy closeout. If Recon 5 aren't able to get this, then I'm going to be worried about their chances of picking up. We got a 5v3. It's a 1-for-1 trade now. 4v2 is even better. Fast retake coming in. I wonder if RCF and Modem are going to go for the save here.
It's definitely. I don't think they need to. He's gonna go to do as much damage as humanly possible to Recon 5's economy, and they don't need to save. Look at the money for their side. Like, even without the current round bonus, they can all still afford to buy. But it's not even gonna matter because as Modem pushes onto site, he finds 2, leaving RCF in the clutch situation. But finally, after an 8-round drought in the 9th, Recon 5 manages to pick up their first, but it was on the back of a heroic play from Cobra. They can't be relying on that for all of their rounds. And like I said, they even trying to push that at the very end, Modem was able to do so much damage. That was 2 less players that now have the potential to reinvest in this round. They have to buy yet again. The economy from High Coast is booming. They don't need to worry about that.
Pwn is on the op, but not anymore. Twice takes his head off. It's a phenomenal opener. Twice does some good damage on the Modem as well. He's looking to hold down the bomb site up against the world, though. Able to find that first hit on the Twice, spamming through the smoke, but he's locked out of the map. Might go in for more. There's no way you go through the smoke, Modem. That's insane. He doesn't try to do so. He gets caught, though. The smoke fades away. RCF able to trade from one kill as well. They are playing so aggressive, and they're not expecting it. Saturn was on the top side of the map. He's spotted out and taken care of. How does Recon 5 drop that one?
I think you already mentioned it. You have already answered your own question, to be honest with you, and that's ridiculously aggressive plays. You were saying there's no way Modem pushes through the smoke. There's no way they push into the site. They've been locked out of sight. And that's exactly what Recon 5 was thinking too. But instead of agreeing with you, instead of going, okay, we'll wait out these smokes, we'll wait out these Molotovs, High Coast says, yeah, but what if we pushed it? Wouldn't that be kind of funny? And they do exactly that. They just push completely unabashed through the smokes, through the fire, through the flames. Take those aim duels nice and easy. Take another round. I have to ask, what are you thinking for our score at the halftime if you were a betting man? I wouldn't be surprised at a 13-2 at this point.
I was gonna say the same thing. I mean,
I think Recon 5 gets one more. I think they're saving for this round. They don't have all that much, and they're about to push into the waiting sights of view. Especially this nade too. That's going to be painful. But I think they buy into the round after this. Austin take the 12. Doesn't matter. Austin does manage. Oh! What? What on earth is confused happening? As I am, Exner. What was that? And he dies for it.
I have no idea what's going on right now. He's hiding inside. I'm just spamming them down as they try and find the kill. Boo is totally decoy right there, and RCF to clean things up. I have no idea what's going on. Recon 5, they're. I mean, imagine how frustrating it is to be them right now. You're getting pushed inside the smoke. One player just sitting inside of it. You just lost a round in the previous to a guy pushing through the smoke with his own flashbang. I've never seen anything more frustrating in all of Premier than playing High Coast right now.
I think that's the most apt way you could have put it. Frustrating. And you can see it in the way that Recon 5 is trying to take these executions, and RCF just does not let it end. He keeps piling on frustration after frustration, taking down Austin within the second the round starts. It's going to be an early 5v4 disadvantage to Recon 5. Now, I'm going to push into the site unabated. They do find twice, but RCF pushed up really far through long, gets punished by Cobra on the op. Now for the first time in a while, 5 does manage to get an advantage, but Pwn alone, even while blinded, and that flick on it. And it's just an execution on the site. Recon 5 finally manages to take their second. So this is exactly what I was saying. Recon 5 saved in the previous round. They finally get the buy off. Now they can finally take their second round. But I think going into the rest of this, High Coast picks up 3 more in a row.
Yeah, I mean, you have to imagine with the way things are looking that High Coast don't really struggle for the rest of this half. They've been doing fine on the gun rounds. Even in that one, they had the man advantage, but I think Boo actually came off there. Once again, it's fast aggression towards long that pays off. Bentley does get the trade towards the end of the day onto Austin, but still an even 4v4, so we'll see some aggression towards Cat. It's just been non-stop, ever present. Cobra does pick off one towards mid. That's Monum taken down. Cobra also scoping in towards Cat, able to find himself another kill on the Boo. Cobra is going to be the man to try and pull this half back. And 5 isn't all that bad. They can recover certainly. So despite the frustration, despite the early rounds blood away, Recon 5, they can certainly fight back from this.
Right, 10-5 going into a CT side on Dust 2 is the worst thing in the world. It's certainly not the ideal situation. Little margin for error on your own CT side, but it's certainly better than a 13-2. And Cobra, good for yet another on the round. I believe that's his third, potentially a fourth if he can pick up Pwn alone underneath in tunnel as he drops. This is, like I said, this is the potential for Pwn alone to fall as his fourth kill, or twice could just find him through bomb site B into doors, and that's going to be the third for Recon 5. So my greatest fear has already been disproven, at least.
Yeah, no, I was definitely with you. And on top of that, the money is totally shot from High Coast. It's that CT side economy coming back to bite you. All those weapons being so much more expensive, especially as High Coast kind of invested in the double op. They're kind of seeing the bitter end of that process as those rounds do go awry here. It's going to be a full stack towards the B side of the map. I don't know if there was a smoke towards cross, but all in all, oh, there was. So a little bit of information shrouded from Recon 5 as they do walk out tunnels. Twist, he can be in some danger here if he doesn't find this first kill.
This is going to be the interaction that decides the rest of this round. And that's kind of a bit of a cliche, but usually it's not really the opening interaction that decides it. And that first trade, it's going to actually keep it even to push on to the rest. But Pwn along with just the USPS finds Austin up out of mid doors, and that's so painful because that's an extra gun into the hands of High Coast that they didn't have to buy. Pushing into the rest of the round, a little bit of firepower, be able to attempt this site retake, but this site retake is going to come through the scope of Cobra. This is the first shot, and doesn't even get the chance to take a second as Bew to full headshot on the Cobra. Knocks him down. Saturn good for one on the bottom as Jazz Pimp finds Pwn alone. Now RCF all on his lonesome with the op. Finds Jazz Pimp, and that's going to be it. Oh wait, he doesn't have a kit. Does he have time?
Oh, he can't get on it. He's got to jump up. I have no idea. Yeah, if he would only have jumped up there, that was such an unbelievable point from Recon 5. That's how they win the round. He had probably confused on top of that box. Guess whatever gets the job done. But despite that, such a close round from High Coast with 5 USPs being brought out. They pull it into a 1v0 and just not enough time at the end of the day to defuse that bomb. High Coast are going to be quite happy, but Recon 5, again, it doesn't matter. They've won the round. Next round, the economy, they've got enough to buy in this round, so economy not going to play a factor later on in this half. It's going to be
This is our final round of the half, and both squads have enough for the full utility belts, for the full weaponry that they want, that they need, except for maybe just the FAMAS in the hands of Ben. So it's no one has the big advantage in this round. It's really just going to come down to these duels. And right now, as usual, it's Modem. He doesn't manage to get the second and third kills with the spray down, but he does hurt them quite badly, which allows Unknown to close it out on Saturn. Pushing into the site, finds Austin now. Jazzpimp does manage to get the refrag onto him, trading it out to bring it to a 2-on-2 until Bew shows up and knocks down Cobra. It's all onto the back of Jazzpimp. But he's going to be pushing his way over towards the A bomb site. He does have bomb in hand, so he should be able to get it down.
Same
but
point.
Yeah, it's going to be the same spot. It worked out once for them. Let's see if it works out twice. But it's Bew and Ben know. They have to know. So I'm assuming it'll be one pushing stairs, one pushing tunnel. They'll try and just pincer him, but Jazzpimp is playing this exactly as he needs to. Doesn't matter though because he can't take that aim duel.
Yeah, good swing for Ben late there. He was a little bit worried there. If Jazzpimp just nails that headshot, he was way too far back to trade it, so a little bit of over-aggression could have came through, but all in all, just safely finds that headshot. It is going to be an 11-4 half. Ico is going to be quite happy with that. I mean, Recon 5 as well, when you're staring down the barrel of 1 to 10 scoreline, getting 4 rounds, not all that bad. They're not too worried about it, but definitely going to be wanting to start things off with a pistol round on the CT side. Get maybe as much utility, as much of those tools that you can get to win CT side rounds in your pocket as soon as possible to try and get this comeback come through.
Well, yeah, and as the game started to wear on at the beginning, I believe it wasn't until the 9th that Recon 5 managed to pick up their first round of the game. It was all the way to 8-0. It was looking worse and worse for them until they finally managed to start stringing together a couple of rounds. And yeah, like you said, 4-11, not the best way to be starting out your CT half, but it's certainly not the end of the world. A 15-0 half, like I don't think it's possible to come back from a 15-0 half unless you change rosters, right? 4-11, not the end of the world. They have the potential to do the exact same thing that High Coast just did to them on CT. An 11-4 half brings them to overtime or even possibly a victory. I don't know how much Recon 5 is wanting to look at overtime after last night, but it might be a consideration that they start having to think of very, very soon.
Yeah, I mean, only 4 rounds off a match point for High Coast is going to feel really good. And as strong as their CT side looked, I'm imagining they'll have the same sort of coordination and setups that they had on their CT side, where you're putting 4 towards long, you're committing Modem towards B, and he was doing his job along with support flashes and the likes of that. So High Coast, I have the same expectations going into their CT or rather T side, their executions and their team play that I would expect Recon 5 to kind of struggle against.
I think we have to go back to the point that take a little gander back in time to when I mentioned the map picks and bans. This was Recon 5's pick. If High Coast is looking this strong on the map that they didn't even select, imagine what this is going to look like once we get onto Inferno in the next. If you're a Recon 5 fan, that's going to be a painful map to be certain. So they've got to be careful. They've got to do what they can to claw back their own map pick. Maybe not win it, but maybe get themselves a little bit of momentum going into the second. Or else it'll look like a slaughter and a half that it's already been so far.
Yeah, they're gonna want to get this pistol round rolling, I think, is the real key here. As the CTs, they don't have that luxury of getting a bomb plant and getting a better second round buy than the CTs. That economy
That's
can
just not how
easily
CT economy works, man.
No, they won't have that same luxury. So the T side, they've got a lot going for them right now. Icos is the essential storyline of this half. Recon 5, I think, needed to get a little bit of a better half. This is their map pick, and we're kind of expecting a little bit more from them on this map pick. I will say though that High Coast, they came in ready and prepared because time and time again you saw 4 players towards long. They were fully gambled, ready to go with 4 players. Not half the time you didn't even have a B player. You had 1 player towards mid at the very best, and it just worked out for High Coast, holding down that critical piece of map control. I believe that was the second gun round that they were able to easily swipe them. So yeah, High
I
Coast are looking very strong right now.
I always have to wonder when your own map pick goes this awry, if like you pick onto Dust 2, and if you could like take a peek into the Discord or the team speak or whatever of High Coast as map picks are going on, and you just hear them like laughing maniacally
Yeah.
and rubbing their hands
They fell
together
into our
like
trap.
they fell right for our trap. They picked Dust 2. Now they're gonna suffer the
Oh
consequences
yeah.
because consequences is certainly one way to put what's happening to Recon 5 right now. As halftime progresses, you know, I've seen it actually a couple of times. Sometimes halftime is enough to stall out momentum. Sometimes it's not. It's just going to come down to, like you said, who can win those pistols, who can get rifles in hand first.
Yeah, it is going back to the game, though. We will be getting into the pistol round. We got a 4-11 scoreline here with Recon 5 trying their best to fight back. We'll see what they've got in store for us, but yeah, heading into the pistol and a couple flashbangs, a kit being bought up in Cobra, and the rest just buying up that armor.
Yeah, so getting started here, it's going to be an interesting peek from Bu.
Oh, I thought he was like
Yeah.
locked out.
I thought I was like, are you trying to peek doors? Are you gonna swing it or you good, man? But nothing's gonna come of it.
Ooh.
And Modem actually getting caught out early in lower tunnel thanks to a good shot with the USPS from Saturn. I'm gonna switch over to the P250 RCF. Now retreating up through stairs.
Yeah, they'll take the nice little upgrade on the pistol. They do have the 4v5 advantage, though, so a lot rolling right now for Recon 5. That's the start that they need. We'll see if they are able to finish it as the A players are slowly inching their way up along. Pone alone going in first here. Smoke goes into across the A, getting nailed by Cobra. That's a nice opener as he holds down the line from CT spawn. He's got the utility. He's got the kit in RCF trying to get this pincer from Cat. Can't quite find the kill in the Saturn just yet. It's a labored fight, but it will go in the way of Saturn as he doubles up here. Jasper now deep down as the rest of the cavalry rotating in towards Catwalk. Saturn is trying to get himself a third. He's getting swung on, and Bentley in the meantime, or rather Boo in the meantime, trying to report CT. Saturn goes down. It's a 1v2. Cobra has to do it all, brother Austin, and he's not able to. It's High Coast with the 12th, and that was a critical pistol round down the toilet for Recon 5.
Down the toilet is really the only way that I can agree to describe it, because it was a great start for Recon 5. They managed to take out Modem. They managed to take out, I believe it was Pone alone that fell second. Excuse my memory. And then they just kind of lost it all as Boo and Ben pushed in and wiped them out. You just can't be letting that happen, and we've seen that a couple of times throughout this map so far. Is they get themselves, they like someone like Cobra will make a great play and they'll set themselves up in a great position, and then it just all falls apart when High Coast decide to execute on them.
Yeah.
Now going into this next round, I have to think, like, what can they even change here? Because it's not a factor of like, we're misplaying this, we're losing here. No, you're just losing. There's like, going down 12-4, it's not we're having trouble in individual duels, or we're not getting our reads. And speaking of reads, Ben from all the way at mid doors, this is a massacre.
Yeah, this round is already swiftly over. Again, you mentioned reads. Bentley read him like a book there. Mid's wide open. He is already in B doors. Time, and on top of that, you got they're still impossible hold for those two B players as Icos. They easily take that 13th round. That was a forced buy from Recon 5. It grants them 2 kills, but a trade that Icos is going to be very happy to take. Now we're looking at some very rough scenes for Recon 5. A miraculous recovery is going to be a necessity right now for Recon 5.
Yeah, the margin for error just keeps shrinking further and further and further. High Coast brings this closer to a map victory, and at the moment, it's oh my goodness, this is the worst case scenario for them. He tries to retreat, but Modem doesn't let him go. Picks up his second for the round, and it's already a 5v2. Jazzpip does his damnedest with the Deagle as the smokes begin to bloom, but he's going to be stuck under A. as everything in the world conspires to keep him down there. Molotov will come out to cut off one avenue, but it's just Jazz Pimp. Oh no! The grenade as well. He's going to find Mono, but there's just too many bodies around him, all with better guns. There's nothing he could have done as High Coast pick up a 14th, and this is looking like curtains, Exner.
Yeah, I mean, I won't call it just yet. They've got their first gun round coming here, but yeah, it certainly does feel a little bit doomed. It just seems as if Hykos have a extensive book that they've read just before this game to find out all of Recon 5 secrets. They've got nothing going for them. RCF opens things up once again. Jasmine might have just been going for somewhat of a desperation play there towards lower dark, but he gets immediately taken care of. It's now spreading the defense then as the rest of Recon, or brother Hykos, makes their way up towards Catwalk here. It's a missed op shot from Cobra. He's blinded off the angle. He's getting pressured, but Ponolo not going to give up his life. He knows just to slow the round down. Look at these rotates coming through. At the very least, you have a flank coming through from long. Gonna wait for that to play effective. Twice now towards mid, spots out the shoulder, and this flank could come through just in time. Twice swinging, trying to cause some havoc here as he finds himself a kill on the bottom. Through this one, go, but gets taken down for Boo. Now the flank is gonna take care of Bob here. Saturday though. He has to win that fight. He goes down Austin as well, and Cobra just scratching his head. What on earth has happened to his teammates? They've had the great scenario. They had the flank coming through, and now all he has is a 1v3, a desperate attempt, maybe just a save here as he goes for a kill. Pone loading, gets spotted, gets around the corner just in time. Now holding this angle towards CT spawn. Pone looking to give up his life for the cause, but instead Cobra just holding the angle. Pone's not going to go over aggressively. Flashbang, nice flick from Cobra. You could see a Kenny-esque clutch, but all in all, it's RCF to seal the deal. Gets that.
Kenny-esque went to Valorant. No more clutches here.
Did he?
No, it was a meme. I don't know if you do you remember that tweet that he posted and everyone went nuts?
Yeah. Like a Tarek tweet.
Yeah.
Switch.
But that was emblematic of what's been happening throughout these rounds so far. Austin, Twice had a beautiful setup through the smoke in tunnel, through the smoke in CT start. He took down one, he tagged up another, and then when the flank came around from his teammate, he just died. Didn't matter. The flank wasn't able to capitalize on the space created. Nothing was done with the so that's been exactly what I've been talking about with Recon 5's gameplay so far. They create a lot of opportunities. They do a fantastic job of just that, but they don't capitalize on them. And that's just where High Coast is setting themselves apart, especially here on Catwalk, where 2 more members of Recon 5 fall.
Yeah, I think it'd be 2 scouts left, and I believe all of these players are in within 1 shot of the scout here. Look at Twice go. He's trying his best to close this round out here. He might even go through that smoke, doing his best model impression, but Blue already posted up towards the window. Gonna make this a lot harder here. Twice just hiding. Chances are slim to none. He does get a kill on RCF, but all in all, it doesn't put Saturn in a position that he'd ever want to be in here. Bomb is going to be planted. And now the clock starts to tick, and it seems like this clock is all but over as, yeah, just a nailed shot from late.
Yeah, and he said nail in the coffin. That's just about all that you could quantify that as, because that was a murder. That was a murder. Not very pretty. I don't even know, like, usually when a loss happens, we go to the desk, we can talk about, like, here's the areas where they need to improve, here's where they were doing very well, and I mentioned it already, they were doing great at setting themselves up with opportunities, but when it came down to it, they just lost. That's the only way you can put it.
Yeah, I mean, I think that gun round where Saturn was on the flank was just a prime example of what you said. They had the right execution. They had Twice brawling their attention towards mid and trying to buy time for Saturn to come through on the flank and try and do his work as kind of the coordination. It was there. They had the right plans. They had the right reads, but all in all, where they fell short was finding those kills. I think Saturn kind of struggled there. Also, really unfortunate that for some reason the bomb is just down mid, and High Coast know they all have to turn their attention towards mid and get the bomb. So a little bit of luckiness going through there, but yeah, it was just the execution kind of fell short.
I don't even know if you could call it unluckiness or if it's just missed capitalizations, you know?
Yeah. Yeah, I agree there. I think Saturn should have, at the very least, gotten one, but I also would like to credit Heikos for making sure that they're fully aware of the situations. They're not, you know, not unwise to the fact that there was that player, that possibility of a player towards long. So checking all the boxes is Heikos on map number 1, and heading into their map number 2, it is going to be their pick, and it's not going to get any easier.
Yeah, we mentioned it earlier. That that was Recon Five's pick.
Yeah.
And that is kind of demoralizing, to say the least.
Oh yeah. They're going to be
And so going
feeling that one.
into, a 16-4 loss on your own map choice never feels good. And I'm taking a look right now at our at our ESEA stats, and I want you don't you dare peek. I want you to take a guess at what Modem's ADR was.
114.
You peeked, didn't you?
I didn't, I swear.
It's 114.9.
Oh my god.
You I you might just be like you're a human calculator because you
Uh,
were just counting as we went through the match, so you could
I
get this question right.
yeah, I promise that's a guarantee. I did not I
But
did not look. That's unreal.
the thing that I want to bring up with that point is Modem was not the only one with an ADR that high. Modem had an ADR of 114.9, like I just said. Boo had an ADR of 107.55, and RCF had 115.35. That is 3 out of your 5 players, all
Yeah,
with an
there's nothing you
ADR
could
over
do.
100.
I mean, at that point, that's basically every round you're guaranteeing that you're playing it 2v2, and that's if even they die. I mean, and obviously, if you have 100 ADR, you're probably not dying all that often. You probably get multi-kill rounds. That is impossible for Recon 5 to top, but truly, at least in their map pick, it felt like Heiko were that kind of league above.
But that is going to do it for map 1 at least. We are going to take a small little break in between to see if maybe Recon 5 can recollect themselves going into Inferno. See if they can muster a better performance. We'll see you in about 5 minutes. Don't go anywhere.